Ultimately, belief is also what motivates you to get up and do what you do.
Sebastian, if we take the definition from the dictionary of the word belief, it tells us that belief is an acceptance that something exists or is true, even without proof. But for you as a racing driver and someone who has been at the very, very top level of the sport, broken records, what does belief mean to you?
I think the definition by the dictionary sounds a bit too realistic. I think believe means a lot more. I think in practical or in normal life. I think it's ultimately to be convinced of something that you stand up for, or convinced that something will happen in the days to come or in the future. So whether that's near future, far future, but something is going to happen. And ultimately, belief is also what motivates you to get up and do what you do.
And is it something that you've always had, even from when you were karting and then you go up the ranks in motorsport? Is belief something that you need as a driver?
I think it's something you need, but it's probably fair to say it's something you don't always have, because we are also human beings just like everybody else, and sometimes you have more belief than other times. So I think the key is to not lose your belief in the big picture, and to believe in yourself, your abilities, and the team you're racing for, and what you can achieve together.
And if we change the context of the word, let's talk about social beliefs, because you've always been quite outspoken throughout your entire career about the rights and wrongs, and now you are becoming increasingly vocal as well about social beliefs.
I just think there are some topics that you can't afford to duck anymore. I think especially in sports, I think sports have always taken in the bigger picture, a position where you just wouldn't comment, or you just wouldn't take a stand. But I think some topics you can't do that anymore. I think we live in a different time, and it's not like it was maybe 20-25 years ago. So I think you it's not that you have to have an opinion, but I think you have to be aware of some things going on, and you cannot afford to, as I said, to duck and hide about these things. So I think the two big ones, obviously, one is not the debate, but the whole topic addressing racism around the world, and taking a standing up for what is right, and being outspoken against racism. And the other one is probably concerning all of us, which is the drastic change our climate has taken in the last 100 to 200 years, and where we are today, with the knowledge of today, and what we can do and what we should do. So I think those things they address all of us, and not just some, and sport is not excluded.
And how do you think that we should all be doing this? Because we can all use our reading skills, our education, try and be better. But as you mentioned, it has to be collectively. So how are you trying to improve your knowledge, your understanding on these matters?
Well, that's a difficult question, but I think first you have to become aware. And when you are aware, then don't be shy of making others become aware. So I don't think it's fair to expect everybody to be aware in the first place. I don't think it's fair to expect everybody to have a certain level of education about whatever topic, and to be aware of it, to know the details inside out. So, but I think it's up to all of us to, as I said, try and raise awareness in the first place, because ultimately, once you become aware, you start to ask questions to yourself, to others, and there might be some topics you really start to get interested in. And the moment I think you start to ask questions, it's normally a good process, and will lead you somewhere, will lead you to an improvement, whatever that improvement is. But I think it is something that is always triggered by, like I said, by becoming aware of certain things. And once you have seen them, then I think it's very difficult to unsee them, and that's usually a good thing.
Formula One is a sport that you can't do in your back garden. It does have environmental consequences in that we all fly around the world. There are planes, there are noisy engines in the cars. There's just a huge sort of movement in terms of people as well. So do you think the sport is actually doing enough when it comes to sustainability and the change in technologies? They are trying to do a lot just now. Do you think that things are going in the right direction?
Again, I think one is to be aware. And once you are aware, you start to ask questions, and I think that's a healthy process. Some things cannot be changed overnight, but others can. And then I think it's about us as Formula One, and especially the decision makers, to take action. So obviously, our sport, as you mentioned, for various reasons is not the friendliest, talking about the environment. But I think we can do better, is the answer. I think we can have a better schedule where we hold the races and when. I think we obviously can work on the regulations, which mean that the cars will be having less pollution will be better in terms of technology for the environment in the future. But it's up to, as I said, up to us and the decision makers to push that process and to ask for that change rather tomorrow than the day after tomorrow. It's really a lot of different views you can take on the things that we do, and you can optimize them, I think. The fascinating thing is that you can optimize them without having to give up on something. I think that looking at it and thinking that, but that means I have to give up this, I have to give up that. Why should I do that if someone else is still doing this and that? I think that's the wrong approach. I think it's seeing the chance, and I think that's where F1 can be very powerful if we set the right guidelines, is to come up with solutions, new solutions that are better off, that we are all better off, but the sport is not suffering, but the opposite is thriving. The cars are more exciting, the driving will be more exciting, and the experience around the track will be more exciting for the fans. I think that is all possible. It's not easy and it's not done overnight, but if you never start and in the first place you don't become aware, then you don't ask why and you don't start, then it won't happen. But in my point of view, it has to happen.